Hello guys, it's Stephen here back with another transfer video, and this one's actually interesting. It's genuinely got me intrigued, this potential transfer. Angelino is rumoured to coming back to Manchester City Football Club, and that is really, really fascinating. I'm going to chat about that today in loads of detail. Before I go too far as ever, I want to say thank you to the wonderful people over at One Football. They're how I found out about this news in the first place. Genuinely, I got a notification on my phone, the little app kind of came through onto there, and I noticed it, and I thought, that's really exciting. So go and download it in the link in the description below. It's free, it's really good. It's where I get all my Manchester City news, and where you should get your Manchester City news from as well, other than this channel, and Twitter and all that kind of stuff, of course. But it's generally very good. Go and download it, I promise you, it's absolutely mint. Like Angelino. Now, this is a very interesting one, isn't it? Now, I'll be honest with you, in general, during the transfer window, I find most rumours largely a bit frustrating, usually a bit underwhelming, mainly a bit predictable. So I kind of get a little bit kind of numb to all the transfer stuff. And every now and then a transfer happens potentially that kind of grabs my interest a little bit. And for me, and it's very much a personal thing, this potential Angelino transfer seems just incredibly exciting. Now, it's not because he's the best footballer in the world, and it's not because he's this, insane wonder kid. It's not because we're going to spend loads of money. It's for very personal reasons. I just like the idea of a guy who's once Manchester City footballer coming back and showing how good he could be. At first, I go to the academy games a few years back, and Angelino was one of the players amongst many that I was really excited about. That team in general was very good. It had Angus Gunn in goal. He's obviously a Premier League keeper now, waiting for his big chance. Still could go to the very top. Had Maffeo, who's over at Stuttgart. It had Tosinho Robayo, who's still at the club, obviously. It had Angelino at left back. Brandon Barker didn't quite happen for. It had Ncham in midfield, who obviously is doing kind of all right, floating about. Fofana, who's now at, where's he at now? He was an AZ last time I heard. I can't remember where he's at now. Had quite a few players. Santolini was doing quite well around that similar age group. And it had basically a bunch of players. I always thought had quite a lot of potential to go quite far. And Angelino, to me, was one of the picks of the bunch. He was a player that got forward. He was really exciting to watch. He was tenacious. He had so much energy. He would run a little bit, and then he'd run a bit more just for the sake of it. One thing he lacked was a defensive nous, but the one thing he didn't lack was heart and desire and technical ability. And a rocket of a left foot. He would bomb up and down that left wing, and I would tell everyone that would listen to me, like, we've got a young Jordi Alba in our academy. I was honestly convinced he was that good. And though I knew it might take him a little bit of time to adapt to professional football, I was adamant at some point he'll reach the top. Now, I remember tweeting about him last year when he left, saying he'll end up one of the major clubs of European football, and I got roundly mocked for that. And I remember thinking, I know I'm right on this one. I know he's too good of a footballer to not reach the top at some point. Even though a lot of people said that was ridiculous because he'll never learn to defend, all that kind of stuff, as if the idea of players improving was somehow beyond him. He's shown that he is obviously an exceptionally gifted attacking fullback. Now, there are lots of raw edges to him, but I love the fact that he could be coming back to Manchester City. Now, we don't know, of course, if he'll actually come back to Manchester City and go into the first team and not be sold on. And there are some rumours that if he does come back, we could sell him for a pretty tidy profit to someone like PSG or something like that. But I think he's shown already that he's a very good footballer. I think he's shown already that he's worthy of go at Manchester City Football Club. I think he's definitely proven that. You've only got to look at what he's done. Now, he went on to loan at New York City when he was just turned 18, back in 2015. Did pretty well there before he started to drop off. Had a nothing spell at Girona on loan. Got some game times at Mallorca. Then he went on to NEC Breda and did very well there. He was actually Eredivisie Talent of the Month a few times when he was at NEC. Which was fantastic. He got into the Eredivisie Team of the Year while at NEC Breda at left back in a team that did very badly. And then he got his move to PSV, where he signed permanently. And once again, he actually won Talent of the Year in the Eredivisie for this season, and also got in the Team of the Year again over in the Eredivisie, which is a fantastic achievement. He's been basically tearing up the Eredivisie for a while now. He's been fantastic in the Champions League against Barcelona, against Inter Milan, for what I can remember. I think that's right, and Spurs. He's been great in all those games. He's been tenacious. He's been bombarding forward as he always can do. I like him a lot. I like him loads, and I think he's proven that maybe City should never let him go in the first place. But sometimes you've got to go away to come back a better player. And the idea that he could come in now for allegedly 5.6 million or something like that, as cheap as that. Now, I think if he does come as cheap as that, it's because maybe PSV haven't quite finished their fee yet, so they'll cancel some payments and then we'll pay a small fee or whatever. But that is just insanely cheap. Not just because of his ability, it's insanely cheap because he's club trained as well. He's not only homegrown, he's club trained, which essentially means he's like a free pass into the squad. It'd be great. He basically takes up no overseas squad things. He's another club trained player, which is invaluable to have that kind of tax on a player. It's like that adds loads of money to players in general. The homegrown thing, never mind the club trained. It's we can only be club trained obviously because he's been at City, but that's just a fantastic way for him to come back into the team and be not in the way of any potential signings, and also add to our quotas. And also because more than just him being a good footballer, it validates yet another potential path for academy players into Manchester City's first team. Now, we've all seen Phil Foden make his break into the first team squad as an academy player straight into the first team, which is pretty unheralded, really. Not many players these days get that chance to go straight from the academy teams into the first team. But what I like about this one is potentially it's shown that he can go away from Manchester City after a few loans, get a transfer away, and still come back. And he's shown that many other players, even if they do leave Manchester City, their doorway isn't closed to move back to the club at some point in the future, especially with this growing trend of buyback clauses. And I love that. It immediately validates two separate pathways into the first team. It immediately shows youngsters that they can get into the first team via the academy, or they can get into the first team via loans and transfers and come back. It's great. The positive PR message that he sends to future young players or signings or whatever, it's just great. And also, he's just a good player. And the one thing Angelino has more than most is just a wicked left foot. Like, we're talking a fantastic left foot. He has pace, he has tenacity, he's an incredibly hard worker, loads of desire. He actually already played for Guardiola. Many people forget that. He played in a couple of Carabao Cup games, I think, what I can recall. I swear he got an assist for Alec Garcia, I think, against Swansea away. Someone correct me, but I was at that Swansea game. I'm pretty certain it was when Brahim came on and made his debut. Either way, he's been involved in Guardiola's training. He was very good in pre-season, one season for Guardiola. He actually liked him as a player, but thought he was far too raw and not quite ready for the first team. Hence why he went on loan, and then he was eventually sold. But apparently Guardiola's asked for him to come back as cover for the first team, and he's very excited by this prospect. If this does happen, it's just a fantastic day for the academy, and it's a fantastic day for Manchester City Football Club, and it's great for Angelino. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I think it sends a great message across the academy. I think if he doesn't even settle in for after a year, we can sell him for a tidy profit, undoubtedly, because he's clearly very good. Basically, we've got a homegrown, club-trained left-back in a problem position. Now, bear in mind, Mendy's with no guarantee that he's going to be the same player he was before 2 years of injuries. And Zinchenko, as good as he has been, you never know which way it's going to go. He's only had one really, he's barely had a season's full of actual games at left back, so he could go either way. It's fair to say that left back is still a position that we're not fully sure of yet. So he's a left back, he's club trained, he's homegrown, he's got an incredible left foot, and he's really cheap. It seems like an actual no-brainer, genuinely, to bring him in. He won't block anyone else in the team, and it allows us options. And especially when teams sit really deep against us and sit really far back and just invite us onto them. Angelino's the kind of player who's got a rasping left foot shot. He can really overlap. He's very good at staying wide. He can cross the ball excellently. A variety of different crossing techniques, drilled, whips, all that kind of stuff. He can take free kicks. He can take corners. He just seems an asset that it'd be very useful to have around the squad, especially given the fact that Mendy could easily end up injured again. We don't know. Or what if Zinchenko has a bad second season at left back in the way that Delph did? We don't know these things. So having someone there who can actually be a left back is a really nice option. It's just exciting, isn't it? I love the idea of an academy lad like him, one that promising that I personally felt should have stayed around the first team and got games anyway. Him coming back to Manchester City, showing that this is an alternative pathway. It doesn't affect on any other transfers because it's so cheap. He's won awards over in the Netherlands. He's been really good there, and loads of teams will want him. I've always said that he's going to the top because he's too good technically. He's too good, too intelligent as a footballer not to. And though there are some doubts about his game, definitely he is quite small still. He doesn't solve the height issue there. There are also issues about his kind of defensive awareness. But there was also issues about Zinchenko's defensive awareness up until like Christmas time. And all of a sudden he just got much better one day. Something clicked inside his head because he had the right attitude and he had some incredible coaching. Now what's to say that Zinchenko now, Angelino now he's 22 years old, I think. He's obviously had like 100 senior games behind his belt now. What's to say that he's a lot more susceptible now to some kind of pro training methods? He can learn how to defend a lot better and come back to Manchester City a much more well-rounded footballer, mature, grown up. And the kid has got balls, man. He's tough. He's tenacious. He went to bloody New York City as a kid who's never played any games and requested the number 69 shirt, which is just incredible. He's obviously full of self-belief, a fantastic footballer. I'm really curious to see how this could go. We need to get him into the first team, in my opinion. Get him around that squad because it's just great. It's just a great positive transfer story. And for me, this is more interesting than the Rodri or the Cancelo or Felix stuff. It's just more interesting. I'm not saying it's better. It's just, to me, it's interesting because it's fun. It's intriguing. And it shows a new way for Manchester City to use their academy prospects. And that, to me, is worth its weight in gold. What better story would there be for Angelino to come back into the first team and show with a little bit of luck how far you can get, with a little bit of desire and hard work? His story would be plastered around the walls of the academy. Like, it would show that, you can have a few bad loans and you can go away to a lower division and then you can come back and prove yourself good enough to be Manchester City Football Club. I love that. I absolutely love it. It also means as well that we'd have, not only Foden in the first team, another academy lad, Angelino in the first team as well. Roundabout route, but he's definitely ours. He's club trained in his formative years were at Manchester City Football Club, and that would be great. And then add that to the fact that maybe someone like Eric Garcia might be involved lots next season. All of a sudden, this academy thing is starting to bear some fruit, isn't it? I know some of those were signed when they're like 15 and whatever, but that's not my problem. It'd be really nice, wouldn't it? It'd be really nice indeed. So yeah, I'm very excited by this potential signing. Fingers crossed it does actually happen. In terms of elsewhere, no real news on Felix. He looks like he might be going Atletico, but then maybe not, according to some reports. Rodri's still hanging about waiting. Cancelo, some rumours today that 50 million euros and a few add-ons could do the trick. But it looks like Juve is still up in the air, given the fact they've just hired a new manager. We don't really know much else other than that at the moment. It's very quiet. It's very tedious. But Angelo, that's the shot in the arm I needed for this transfer window. It sounds really, really fun. Fingers crossed that actually comes through because he's a very good player, a very exciting player, and he's one of our own. He's a blue. Once a blue, always a blue, which is the most important thing to me. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think of this potential transfer. As far as I'm concerned, it's win-win. We can't possibly lose in this. We either make loads of money if he doesn't settle in a year from now, or we get an academy player back for dirt cheap, a very promising attacking fullback. It's great. We've got to do this. It'd be stupid not to for that price. Genuinely stupid not to. Anyway, guys, thank you very much as ever to all these people scrolling down the side. These are my patrons, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany if you want to get involved and support the channel. The Patreon Q&A for people watching this on the Patreon, that'll be coming tomorrow or Wednesday, guaranteed. I've got all the questions in. I'm going to record it, but there's still time for the $10 patrons to get some questions in. So make sure you apply to me on Patreon if you want to get involved. Anyway, see you very soon.